2 minutes ago. Just enough time to take a quick shower and change my shirt. I had a 92, 94-year-old woman got a bad water heater. She had no hot water for 4 days. And I found out this morning, so I went and took care of it. All the way in Island Park, which might as well be another country. I know, we really could, especially as the prints get bigger and bigger, which I'm not complaining about. I do like the large format, especially those 43 standards. What a beautiful set of prints those are.
Yeah.
What a gorgeous house that's in. No. Oh yeah. Oof. Never cease to amaze me. TRC is what mines are. They're getting fixtures on the second floor. So often what you see is an open first floor looks like it's wide open, right? And then the second floor right here, they would have 3 bathrooms. I just turned down a job on New York Avenue. 9 fixtures, a double bathroom, master bathroom, freestanding soaking tub, custom shower, double vanity, mirrored bathroom. All 9 fixtures, that's concrete, directly above a room like this. Not a single wall. There was nowhere else. And the company who made the plans, it was a nice looking house, but they had no mechanical experience. So they just kind of rolled out and they expect the contractors to just figure it out. I turned the job down. And it's redone. What you're asking for is impossible. No room to pitch and no interior conditions. Slab on grade. So, no basement. These are a relief to see. You know what I mean? Compared to that, you look at this and like, oh man. The difference is here.
I will slow down. I will slow down. I'm ready. I know you guys been yelled at. She's already yelled at me the first few meetings. I know she wants me to go see. It's okay. I can take it.
I try and be nice when I
No, no, you're very nice about her. When I say yell, I say just give me a little push on my hands, you know.
This is the subject property.
And the suck pronunciator, Mr. Fenton.
Good evening. Welcome to the June 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Jamestown Planning Commission. Carrie, can you call the roll, please?
Michael Swistak.
Here.
Duncan Pendlebury. Here. Carl Crissati.
Here.
Christine Gentry is absent. Diane Harrison. Here. Nick Insana.
Here.
And Dana Prestigiacomo.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Since we have 3 new business applications here with applicants and stenographers and 2 public hearings, I'll make a motion that we move the approval of minutes and old business to the end of the agenda. So I'll need a and discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Anybody here tonight who wishes to address the commission on a non-agenda item? Or none? Okay, thank you. Okay, so then we'll go right to new business, item 1. And this is an application of Cynthia Leonard, Damon trustee, and Robert C. Torrey, whose property located in the R20 zoning district at 75 Ocean Avenue and 75 Melrose Avenue respectively. So I'll make a motion to open the public hearing to review this application under Unified Development.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor to continue public hearing? Thank you. Okay, welcome Attorney Infantolino. Can you be sworn in, please, before we start? No, that's fine.
I was gonna say no. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
It'll break the whole ceremony. Don't do that.
All right, but please, okay, go right ahead.
Christian Fantolino with Murphy Pryor and Fantolino. We're here tonight requesting property line adjustment for the properties at 75 Ocean Avenue and 75 Melrose Avenue. The travel of this matter, it started with an administrative subdivision application eastern lot line for lot 830, maintaining the historical access to the property through an easement, but while having no actual frontage pursuant to Jamestown zoning ordinance. The proposal transfers approximately 38,920 square feet from lot 830 to lot 29. And assuming that this is approved, the applicant is going to implement, a litany of building restrictions, buffer zones and no build zones on the transferred area. The transferred area, really the purpose of it is for a garage and garage storage. They're going to have no further subdivision restrictions. They're going to be being transferred out as well. That was just between the two owners of the community. With regards to access to 75 Ocean, access is, it's always been through a recorded easement. The easement was recorded in the deeds as well as in hanging file 181B. I have a copy of all this and I'm going to submit to you guys as well. When the Leonard family subdivided the larger parcel into a few others, that's kind of when this all came into play. They kept the frontage, but that was all, it's always been just wooded, non-buildable area when you drive down there, and they've always accessed off of the Ocean Avenue access. Those easements are recorded in book 1046 at page 256, book 1048 at page 159, and then it was modified to include some maintenance obligations in book 845 at page 42. And I have a copy of the easements that I just referenced as well as the modification that I'd like to submit as exhibits, please. And I believe that you were talking about. Yeah. Okay. And then the other important note is that I learned through the technical review committee and the plans that the existing easement area, the access area, also contains the water and sewer lines. So the lines have already run through underneath through that easement area as well. That's what I have for my presentation. I do have with me Patrick Freeman with American Engineering to describe the plans to you, and after his plan description, we'll answer any questions that you guys have.
Mr. Higgins, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name. Thank you.
Now, Patrick has been admitted as an expert witness in the past. I'd ask that unless you'd like to qualify.
No, I think that's fine. I think we'll be fine with it. So I make a motion to accept Patrick Freeman, PE, as an expert witness. A discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Patrick, can you just please describe the plans that we prepared for the applicants and what we're proposing? Absolutely. So, the plan you have before you, it's an administrative subdivision. It's between Assessor's Plat 8, Lot 29, and Assessor's Plat 8, Lot 830. Where parcel A, which is the easterly portion of Lot 830, will be conveyed to Lot 29. That parcel A consists of 38,920 square feet of land. Both parcels, Lot 29 and 830, have access to public rights-of-way. Lot 29 has access to Melrose Avenue. Lot 830 has always had access to Ocean Avenue via easement, as Christian has referenced, as well as sewer and water and utilities through that easement. Those easements are recorded meets and bounds in several places, as Christian mentioned, and as well as in the deeds for lots 396, which the easement is over. So it's referenced in both the, I would say our deed and the deed that the property is accessed via. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions.
Just to clarify, there was a plan on our desk. That's the original plan, right? That has been superseded by the plan in your packet. So we don't, if we look at this, we're going to be confused, right?
So this was submitted because I believe that the original application should have carried through as an administrative.
it's included in the deed, but can you confirm there's no physical delineation visible on the corners of the right-of-way?
Other than the existing stone wall at the entrance,
And we don't really know if the stone wall is actually,
commencing at that.
right, okay, so the right-of-way has just been there for how many years? Do you know when that was, any idea how long ago that right-of-way was created?
I have the date of the plan, hanging flat file 181B, was done in January of 2002. So very recent.
Oh, not that long ago, okay.
Yeah, the location of that's mathematically established based off of, existing monuments, that we had provided on our survey, you'd be able to replicate its location. It isn't necessarily marked in the field.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, any questions? So I think it might be helpful if, Nancy, you can weigh in a little bit, and let's talk about Christian's original concept on how to create this access through Melrose Avenue, and why through your first rejection of the plan and the TRC, that we encourage the applicant to go a different route.
Yes, of course. When the application first came to me with that earlier subdivision request from January of 2026, I was unable to approve it administratively because it would have required 2 waivers from the subdivision regulations. One for the side lot lines and another for the lot configuration. Specifically because the proposed lot was a very highly irregular flag lot configuration. So in other words, sometimes you have lots that are like a rear lot development where you have a long stick area, which sometimes doesn't count towards the required area of buildable land, and then you have a lot in the back. Well, this was turning into something with 390-degree angles, 283 linear feet, etc., which, when all is said and done, is really not best planning practices, and that specific was confirmed by the Technical Review Committee when it went to the TRC. We discussed, and I've included in the memo, that what the standards would have been for a waiver, and I don't think the waiver would have been available to Mr. Infantolino and his client. So I recommended that he seek the alternative 0 frontage, which does require a dimensional variance.
Can I get a clarification on the 0 frontage waiver? So does that mean that in the zoning, if they were to build a new dwelling, that's the same frontage requirement?
I don't
Is that the
understand
same
your
term?
question.
So we have frontage requirements for building on a lot based upon zoning. As in this application, is 0 frontage means that that regulation, that town regulation, does not apply, or is this a different terminology?
So they're seeking a variance
Right.
of that frontage requirement. And instead of having whatever the required is, they're asking for 0 because they have access, which is different than frontage,
Right.
elsewhere. And that was at the planner's recommendation. It's up to this board, sitting in its Unified Development Review Authority, to grant or not grant that zoning relief as one aspect of the proposed subdivision. Before that would require another trip to the zoning board to seek that variance, but now it's all in one. But yes, that is
Okay.
zoning requirement they're seeking a variance from. Waivers are under the planning commission thing. We use different words, they sometimes mean similar things, but they have different legal meaning.
Yes, thank you.
Two things. There's a minor subdivision, which is the transfer of property
Yes.
from the one applicant to the other, and then the variance. And so to follow up on that, and the variance being the zero frontage.
Right.
So, Christian, can you just talk a little bit about the hardship that creates this? And I think we talked about it at the TRC, and I think, you know, in the memorandum from the planner, is that we see that the hardship is created by a prior decision by either planners or zoners that created this access across another lot.
Yeah, I would say that that would be the way that it was framed.
Okay, yeah, because we're, you know, when we get the findings, you know, as it's, as the draft, right, refers to that the hardship is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land. And those unique characteristics being this pre-existing access to the lot, to the Leonard lot.
Ever since the applicants owned this property, this is how they've accessed it. There's never been an access point off of Melrose Avenue. This property has always been accessed off through the Susan area.
All right. And then the alternative is, as Nancy described, is somewhat impractical to achieve. From
From the planner's perspective, yes.
yeah, okay.
From the engineers, no. I mean, it was designed, it was put forward. But from the planner's perspective,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
I want to make one comment for the commissioners, really. This zero frontage, we have a lot of finger lots in the, we call them spaghetti lots or whatever, all over the island. And allowing zero frontage could offer a possible subdivision tactic on these lots that are, you know, for the ones that I know about are all up and down East Shore Road. And so, we should be aware of that zero frontage means that you could apply for a subdivision if this is a precedent.
So,
Lots that are, you know, 900 feet long, et cetera.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is a unique situation in such that it's not a stick lot or what I call a flag lot to begin with, okay? And the frontage that is on Melrose has never been utilized by the residential development that's on the site. We know that the access is to Ocean Avenue, the address is Ocean Avenue, even the sewer and water connections come in from Ocean Avenue through that easement. Frontage without access really does not qualify as frontage in the first place. So even though there was this 100-foot line adjacent to Melrose Avenue, it has never been used as frontage because there's no access. The other thing is the site itself kind of crests at the top and goes downhill at quite a distance towards the water. And so I think for those purposes, the original proposed flag lot, if you like to call it that, really the area between those lines would not have been any use whatsoever. And one of the aspects of a subdivision is that you want to create buildable lots. And if there's a whole area, and I'm not sure what the calculation, the square footage would have been, but nonetheless, it will kind of leave that area in limbo. And one way or the other, I would imagine that in the future, that area would have been added to one of the two properties adjacent to, because you just can't use it. Okay, so I think the hardship here is actually related to the specific land and how things have been organized over several generations. And it's minimal for reasonable enjoyment of the property, which is a residential use, because no consequences are going to be involved because of this. Now, in other situations, and I don't know this for myself, but I'll look into it, where you have these flag lots or these stick lots, if they are used for access, then they are an important portion of that piece of property, and that access, that frontage access, which is limited, is still frontage. But in this case here, it's never been access. So, does that make sense?
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. I do have one other question. In terms of the easement over property, Plat 8, Lot 396, I think we just talked about that easement is not visibly delineated by granite markers. Bounds. And it looks like there's a water line that runs through there. There's a hydrant nearby, right? There's maybe some utilities that cross over that easement. Have you made any attempt to communicate with the owners of that lot, Sarma, to determine if we could actually physically place markers?
So I know originally I started to reach out to, when they started asking for legal descriptions of the property until I found the deeds, and I hadn't gotten in touch with them. I have no problem asking, but I cannot make any assertions that we can actually put bounds in on a property that's not ours. So I have no problem reaching out and asking them if we can put bounds in, but I just can't make a guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, I think if this is a permanent access to the lot, it would be nice if, it'd be preferable, not nice, it would be preferable, right, if that was marked. Patrick, am I on target here?
Logically, yes, yeah, it makes sense, yeah, to be able to, in the field, locate it.
Oh, and I'm not disagreeing with you,
Right.
I just want to be very clear. I mean, I will reach out to them, we'll ask them if we can do it, and if they are in agreement, we'll absolutely put bounds.
Okay, all right.
But if, I just can't make that guarantee.
Yeah. David, is that common sense approach here to try to at least attempt to do that?
Yes, that's typically how you want to do it.
And, and we wouldn't be able to do it without permission of the owners of that lot?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I think we're going to want to add that as a condition that you make an attempt.
Sure.
Copy the town,
That's fine.
the plan house, okay.
That's fine.
All right. Anything else? Yeah, sorry. Mhm.
One question I'd like to clarify real quick. The original plan shows an existing dwelling. It looks like it's to the east of the driveway. And in the original plan, that was to be... Oh, I'm sorry. I see it. I answered my own question. Disregard. That was conveyed in both plans as part of the transfer, right? Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? Ah, it's a dwelling, but not for people. Okay, I got you. Chicken dwelling. All right. Yeah, that's it for me.
Christian, if there's no other questions, anybody in the audience who wishes to address the commission or ask a question or make a comment regarding this application? Okay, so before you go. Christian, have you reviewed the memorandum from Nancy Latender?
I have.
Is there anything in this document that
Nothing
you?
that I caught that needed major changes, that I caught.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys picked up on it.
Or you object to, or?
Yeah, there's-
Okay, all right.
it is what it is.
Are you okay if we don't read the entire?
I would pleasure that. It would be very okay with me.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's go back to our document here and just review what changes we might made. So under project description, Nancy, you left us a footnote here, a comment that we should require all relevant deeds and easement documents, and I believe those are here in front of me. Did you receive a copy in advance, or?
Was that what you put in for the record earlier? Yes. Okay, thank you. I would appreciate a copy.
Before we move on, I just have one quick question for the planner. In your original administrative denial, you cited two things, C1 and C4, side lot lines and lot configuration. I understand the logic and the reasoning behind both of them, but I was having trouble finding the actual language in the subdivision regulation book that you used. So you don't have to do it right now, but if you could follow up with me later and just give me a page number on those, so
sure.
I can look it up
Sure,
after.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Nancy, quickly, have you had a chance to look at the exhibit from attorney, and does it look to be in order?
This definitely will satisfy the condition of approval number 2 that I had added.
Okay. Okay, then, under project description, at the bottom of page 2, we talked about an earnest effort, a good faith effort by Attorney Infantolino to contact the owners of Plat 8, Lot 396, to get their agreement to put physical identifiable markers on the easement.
So, Mr. Chairman, in order to include that in the letter, in the decision, I would bring your attention to proposed condition of approval number 1, where my original request was in fact to revise the site plan that was submitted so that the meets and bounds description for the easement is actually on the plan. That was my intent. But if that is not the board's intent, and the board's intent is to ask the applicant to make efforts to actually mark the easement area in the field, then I would suggest that a condition of approval be a letter outlining what those efforts were, what the outcome of those efforts are, and have it submitted to myself on your behalf.
Okay, let me go, just back up and make sure I'm clear. So proposed condition number one, asking for a revised site plan delineating the precise area of the deeded access. Have you not done that?
Well, I mean, Matt, that's the, yeah, so we show the location of that easement on our plan. And it's also on that recorded, thing, when they do these, it's also not meets and bounds, like bearings, distances, delineated on that plan either. The description of the easement is a meets and bounds description, if we're talking about dimensioning it. We could add the dimensions to the plan, where it's located. I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Under those circumstances, I'm satisfied with what's on the plan.
We're okay with that? Okay. Okay. So if the plan today is acceptable, do we even need condition one? Proposed condition number one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so we're going to strike that, Christian?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Does that make sense? However, we're gonna add a new condition. Per Nancy's input, that you will make a good faith attempt to contact owners of lot 386 and document those efforts.
Oh, I'll copy, I'll CC her on the document.
Yeah. Carrie, do you have the wording for that condition? Thank you, okay. And I guess I think one thing we want to clarify is that the easement is for the sole use of the Leonard property, lot 830. So the point there being is that it could never be used for some other access to the Torrey property, lot 29, or any other, I mean, I think that logically there's no other lot it could get to, but.
Yeah, I mean, short of, I'm walking down a road that I don't know if I should really even walk down, but I mean, short of the Leonards giving the Tories an easement that would then go over that, it's the Tories don't have an easement to use that access point to cut into their land and then back over to the Tories, right? So the Tories can go up to Ocean Avenue, and then after that, they're trespassing, unless they were invited by the Leonards, right? And then when they hit the Leonards' land, if they get another easement off of that, I mean, I don't know what easements, but currently right now, the easement, that what I know, and I have not done any other title investigatory work around the area other than these lots for that easement, that lot is the lot that has the rights, the beneficial rights to the easement. Not even a lot, is lot 830, if I did that right.
Yeah.
Is the beneficial interest of the easement.
Okay. Is there any possibility that these two owners, these two applicants could coordinate and say, hey, I built a new garage, I want a back way in?
So the answer to that is yes, okay? But under the current circumstances, the Torrey's lot does not have a right to access by vehicle along that easement. But please keep in mind that both the Torrey's lot and the lot in question have their water and sewer coming from that direction, okay? So there is shared utility line through there going to both properties. If in the future, the Torreys wanted to ask for permission to use that as a driveway, they would obviously have to get the requisite easements. But there's nothing that this board is doing that would require that.
And so what you're saying is we should be forward-thinking and document that so that if the Tories did want to access by vehicle,
My opinion is that you need to do nothing on the subject because it would require, it be a private arrangement between the different homeowners.
okay. Thank you. Okay, so Christian, then the recommendations and draft findings of fact are essentially unchanged. The proposed conditions have been changed. Struck number 1, number 2 stands, number 3 has been added regarding your effort to get agreement to physically place markers on the,
Absolutely. I think there may be one minor change to the name of the plan. I believe we're going to be adding Daniel Gulumenti's name to that as well, because it's Cynthia Leonard, the trust, and Daniel own it together. So we would just be naming just change the name of the plan.
Would you mind saying that out and giving me that name?
Yes.
I apologize if I missed it somewhere, but Damon?
I just want to make sure.
Daniel Gumet, I see
I
it.
just want to say it correctly. Did you see it?
I see it.
Okay.
So that will be added
It is going to be added to the name,
the title of the plan?
of the plan. That's it.
Okay.
But I just noticed it when I was flipping through they named the plan, and I just wanted everything to be accurate, that's all.
Patrick, will you be putting a revised date on that plan as a result?
Yes.
Okay, so I will make that change administratively when it arrives, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's the first.
so simply that third condition of approval is the applicant will submit an updated plan with the name correction and current date.
Correct.
Okay, so David, 2 motions, 2 votes here, one for the subdivision and second for the variance.
First event.
First the variance.
First the variance, yeah.
Then
Yeah, thank you.
you'll get it down. This is still new.
Okay, last call, anybody in the audience need to weigh in here? Okay, thank you. Christian, this application is for Cynthia Leonard Damon, trustee, and Robert C. Torrey. Do we need to amend that applicant's name at the moment?
I don't think so. Daniel's here. He's a 20% owner as tenants in common. He's approved everything, and he was noted in the originals. I mean, it's up to if the solicitor believes that.
I don't think you need to amend anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll take care of it.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that the Cynthia Leonard Damon trustee and Robert C. Torrey, properly located in the R20 zoning district at 75 Ocean Avenue and 75 Melrose Avenue respectively, further identified as tax assessors Plat 8, lots 8, 30, and 29. We approve the dimensional variance for zero frontage under zoning ordinance section 82-602, table 6.2.
Second.
We have a second.
Please add in accordance with the findings of fact that
Thank you. Yeah.
have been drafted and with the condition of approval.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so I make that motion, amend that motion to include the statement that the variance is approved in accordance with the findings of fact, conditions of approval, and recommendations as written in the Nancy Latender memo dated May 27, 2026. Okay. Nick, can you just second that?
Oh, yes, second
Amendment.
that amendment.
Thank you. Discussion? If none, Carrie, roll call vote, please, on that variance approval.
Duncan Pendlebury. Carl Crissati.
Aye.
Diane Harrison. Nick Insana.
Aye.
Dana Prestigiacomo. And Michael Swistak.
Aye. Okay, I'd
Motion
like to make,
passes
um,
6-0.
I can make a second motion that the minor subdivision application of Cynthia Leonard Damon, and trustee, and Robert C. Torrey, whose property is located in the R20 zoning district at 75 Ocean Avenue and 75 Melrose Avenue respectively, and further identified as tax assessor's plat 8, lots 8, 30, and 29, be approved in accordance with the findings of fact, conditions, and recommendations as written on the memo from Nancy Latender dated May 27, 2026. Need a second?
I'll second that.
Nick, a second. Discussion on that motion? And Carrie, roll call vote, please.
Duncan Pendlebury. Carl Crissati.
Aye.
Diane Harrison. Nick Insana.
Aye.
Dana Prestigiacomo. And Michael Swistak.
Aye. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing, of the application of Cynthia Lemon Damon, trustee, and Robert C. Torrey.
Second.
You don't actually need to take that motion. When you take the vote, it closes the public hearing.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thanks, David.
one less thing.
Okay, I withdraw that motion. All right. Okay, so next, under the new business, PL 26-6 is application of Andrew and Kathleen Huntley Robertson, whose property is located in the R8 zoning district and the Jamestown Village Special Development District, 74 Green Lane, further identified as Plat 9, Lot 229, to include development plan approval pursuant to Article 11, Section 82-1102 and 2, and requiring approval use of a variance to allow changes to the basement and crawl space, which does not meet the 12-inch separation from high groundwater elevation, ordinance Section 82-708. So I'd like to make a motion that we open the public hearing for that application.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? None? And welcome. Okay, so,
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and spell your last.
Kevin Connery, Connery.
Thank you.
Good
Kevin,
evening.
before we begin,
Sure.
can you just give us your background and credentials, please?
Yeah, sure. My name's Kevin Connery. I am the lead designer at JPS Construction and Design build firm. I've been in architecture ever since I graduated. Graduated Virginia Tech with a bachelor's in architecture in 2009. did a lot of commercial architecture down in Virginia for about 5 or 6 years, and then in 2015 I moved up here, and I worked at Bergen Lambert Architects for 10 years until I came here. So I was working directly under one of the best. I'm sure you guys all know him. So, but yeah, I came to JPS for a few reasons. You know, Bill is nearing the end of his career, and you know, one door closes, another one opens. So, but as it stands right now, I'm the lead designer at JPS, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be a registered architect. So, 4 out of 6 down. So we got 2 more tests to go, and should have it done by the end of the year. So,
Okay.
that's basically it, long and short of it. So,
David, based on credentials, can we accept Kevin as the expert witness?
You may, but it is discretion of the board. So
Is
like, it's at the discretion of the board, but you may make that vote.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I suggest a motion and a vote.
All right, thank you. Yeah. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept Kevin Connery as an expert witness based on his educational background and work experience.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay.
So, yeah, just please walk us through this project, start to finish. Not all of us have seen it.
Understood. Good evening. Like I said, my name is Kevin Connery, JPS Construction and Design. Tonight I'm going to be presenting on behalf of Kathleen and Andrew Huntley Robinson, the owners at 74 Green Lane. In this presentation, I'm just going to go over a quick little summary of what I want to hit on, the key points. I want to first talk about the overall project goals, or rather the the program that our clients came to us with, the existing conditions of both the main house and the garage, the site plan, and how the proposed addition will not only adhere to the guidelines set forth in the Jamestown Village Pattern Book and Design Guidelines, and also key measures that we're going to implement through this addition and renovation that'll help mitigate any impacts on stormwater management. Then I'm going to talk about the proposed addition and renovation to the main house, including, the exterior elevations, architectural vocabulary, and how we're using this renovation as an opportunity to correct some of the renovations that have happened since the house was built that don't really conform to the village guidelines, and how those how our design elements will meet those guidelines. I'm also going to talk about the relocation of the current basement stair, to make a stair that's both more code compliant and safer, because, as I'll explain, the goal for our clients is to basically create their forever home. They live in New Jersey right now, they own the property, but with this renovation, they want to make this their retirement home, which, they can age in place. So last year, Andrew and Kathleen came to us, as I said, with the desire to create a house that would provide them with the means to accommodate not only their children, but future grandchildren. This would be a house where all the families get together, special occasions, holidays, things of that nature. And to do so, we proposed not only a reconfiguration of the existing floor plans, but also in addition in the rear of the existing main house that would include a second and third floor. We also are going to convert the existing garage into a finished space that will function as an office, an art studio, and gym. However, no plumbing fixtures, bathrooms, anything of that sort will be included as part of the conversion of the existing garage. And the other element, as I mentioned, was the reconstruction and relocation of the existing basement stair to meet code requirements. This will provide the client with a safe means to access the basement allowing them to retire in place. As it stands right now, the existing stair really can't be reconfigured or rebuilt to meet code without doing some serious reframing to the existing structural members. And with a house this old, I'd really try to shy away from that. So because we're proposing a small addition on the south side of the property, I saw that as an opportunity to relocate the stairs on that side. However, to do so, we would need to add a landing to the basement stair at the level of the existing concrete slab in the basement. However, because of the seasonal high water tables, only 24 inches down from grade, we will be seeking a variance for that. So that's my introduction. Carrie, can you please flip to the third slide? All right, cool. Yep, thank you. You guys hear me okay? Sorry. I don't know if I'm talking into the microphone enough, but all right, so what you're looking at on the left is a photograph of the existing house. This is the northeast corner of the house as you would see it from Green Lane. And just looking at this photograph, you can see certain elements that aren't consistent with the village guidelines. Things like complex roof forms. There's a weird, and I'm not sure why they did this. Usually with these historic houses, they kept things really simple. I can't really explain this one away. You usually can, but you usually can find a reason for what they did 125 years ago, but this one, I think they just thought it looked cool, really. It was because when you look at the framing, it actually was a harder undertaking than to just make it a simple gable by hipping those in from a framing perspective. So you have that. And another non-conforming element to the existing main house is there are some windows that are oriented horizontally, not vertically, as outlined in section 9.3. The dormers actually are aligned to the walls below, and in section 28.5, it specifically states that dormers should be stepped back from that main wall. Next slide, please. All right. So here's a couple photographs, one of the rear and one of the existing garage. And once again, you can kind of see that hip. You can also see some irregularities with the roof. Not very simple. The shed roof down below was, I think, part of an addition maybe 10 years ago. I'm not quite sure. We did some research into that, but we couldn't really find out a whole lot of information on this house. So a lot of times you can at least find some historic photographs. This one came up kind of empty-handed, so the best we could do is just make some good educated guesses on when things were done based on their construction type. The other thing that I want to mention with the existing garage is the low sloped roof. Per the village guidelines, accessory structures like garages should relate architecturally to the main house, and this clearly doesn't with the low sloped roof, which actually has created some problems. The roof is in pretty bad shape. The studs are, I think, maybe not original, but maybe 40s, 50s-ish, and those are in pretty good shape, and we're proposing to keep those and just basically frame a new roof, which is more consistent with the architecture and the roof pitches of the main house. Next slide, please. So here is the proposed site plan. And I just want to talk about a couple key aspects that will adhere to the guidelines. Basically, in short, there will be no change in the setback to the front. Even though we are turning the porch and extending it, we aren't encroaching on that setback to the street. That was for a few reasons. I mean, right now they have really nice landscaping, and we want to preserve that. And basically keep that buffer. The site as it is already adheres to the guidelines where it has those 3 layers. It has the buffer zone, the main house, and then the accessory, the garage structure, is located in the rear of the property. Even though it is technically within setbacks, it does adhere to the guidelines in that it's set back from the road. And the other thing that I want to mention is, even though we are proposing to bump out that south wall by about 3.5 feet and the stairs as well on the south side of the property, other than that, there really aren't any significant changes to the overall setback or the lot coverage. Next slide, please. So in this slide, I want to talk about stormwater management and things that we're going to do as part of this addition and renovation, which will help mitigate any impacts. Currently, the basement is comprised of like 3 main sections. There's an existing section. There's a section which is dropped about 16 inches from that, and then there's a crawl space section. Now, in the lowest section, there actually is a sump pump, and it does discharge to the south of the property. We will have to move that because of the addition on the south, but we talked to Jean Lambert, the town engineer, during the TRC, and she proposed adding a swale on the south side of the property, which is set far enough back from Green Lane that it will help mitigate any water coming out of that sump pump discharge. The other thing that I want to point out is we are going to increase the pitch of the garage roof with the new framing, and to help mitigate any stormwater or any additional, we're going to reroute that downspout to the south and keep that water on site, allowing it to, seep into the soil on the property of 74 Green Lane. All right, next slide, please. Sorry. All right, so here we have the existing elevations, front and rear, on the top, and then we have the proposed elevations down below. And some of the key aspects of the design guidelines that I want to point out that we're trying to adhere to with this renovation is basically simplifying the roof, simplifying the overall masses, because I think over the years there's been so many additions, especially to those front dormers and the windows themselves, that I think at this point the only way to really make the architecture to conform to the guidelines is basically to rebuild the dormers within those guidelines. And as you can see, the proposed design is a lot more symmetrical in element. Windows align from floor to floor, and all windows are now going to be oriented vertically per the village pattern guidelines. Oh, I also want to point out that there was a section in the guidelines, I believe it is 8.2, where it does state that asymmetrical elements are acceptable, and that was one of the reasons why we thought it would be okay to turn and wrap around the porch to the south. So even though the building form itself is symmetrical in nature, the asymmetry of the front porch actually, in my opinion, kind of helps to balance it out and create another interesting dynamic to the architecture. Next slide, please. Oh, cool. One sec. Yeah, so here we have the south elevation. I'm sorry?
One more. Yep, there.
Oh, no. Nope, you were on the right one. No, you were. Sorry. Yes, please. Yep. Okay. So this is the south elevation. Same key elements: simplicity of massing, simplicity of roof forms, to stay within and adhere to the village guidelines. Also, we have the asymmetry of the front porch. Although in this elevation, it's not as prominent because we wrapped it around the back as well with that eave detail. Next slide, please. Here we have the proposed north elevation of the main house. And, you know, same points, basically. Simplicity of form. The other thing that I want to point out, if you look closely, the dormers on the 3rd floor are stepped back from the walls below. That was a key element in the outline in the Jamestown Village guidelines, and we wanted to adhere to that as well. All right, next slide, please, Carrie. So here we have the existing and proposed floor plans. And as I mentioned, part of the renovation was to create a code compliant stair without doing any major structural revisions to the, existing framing. And since we are proposing to bump out to the south, it just made sense that we would put the stair there. However, in order to connect the two, and for headroom issues as well, we only have 70 inches from the slab to the bottom of the existing floor joist. So that kind of posed a little bit of a challenge too, in that I needed to set the stair back a little bit, creating a little bit larger of a landing than I would like. And as you can see from the existing, sorry if I don't have a pointer, but up in the left corner, that would be the crawl space. To the right of it, that's the lowest part of the basement. And once again, these were all additions done at my best guess, maybe 40, 50 years ago. The original foundation, the stone foundation, if you look on the left side, there's like a dark rectangle. That's basically where the existing foundation, the original one, starts and kind of carries over to the right. So just to give you a little bit of background to this basement. The sump pump itself, I mean, when I was there, that pit, it appeared dry. And, I talked it over with Jean, and she felt comfortable that this additional portion of basement, which is really just a landing, won't significantly add to any discharge that enters that pit. Next slide, please. So here we have the existing and proposed first floor plan. Part of the client's program was to increase a little bit of the living space, especially in that living room. The existing fireplace is going to remain. We also are going to expand the entry area, actually create more of a foyer. Although one of the things that I noticed right off the bat when I was there is they had this really cool stained glass window, which probably was original to the house. And we're going to take really good care of that thing. We're going to have it professionally restored. We're probably going to take it to Newport Window Restoration, actually. And then we're going to put it back in on the north side so that it's actually in the stairwell. And the existing door, too, is, I believe, original to the house, the existing main entry door. It's a solid wood, split door. And in my opinion, that's worth saving for sure. Next slide, please. So in this floor plan, you can start to see how we reconfigured that massing on the that faces the front. Technically, you might call it a dormer, but since it spans 2 floors, it really isn't a dormer. But either way, because we're going to reconfigure the main gable roof, we're going to actually shift it forward and rebuild it, which actually is the most practical thing to do when we get rid of those 2 hips. It basically simplifies the entire floor plan, allowing us to not only create an elevation that's more simple, but a floor plan that's more simple that can provide our client with their desired space. Next slide, please, Carrie. Here's the floor plan of the 3rd floor. With the additional gable roof, which is going to bisect the main gable roof spanning north to south. This one on the rear will actually span east to west in that access. And also with the additional of 2 shed dormers, we were able to create livable space in that 3rd floor, which used to be attic or eave space rather. Next slide, please. So this is, these are existing and proposed floor plans and exterior elevations for the garage. Overall, we're gonna keep the walls. We're gonna, add new shingles, new trim to match the details on the main house, which is another element that I don't think I've touched on yet, which is really important to not only us but the owners as well, is to use materials that are consistent with the guidelines. So we're going to do cedar shingles, wood trim, painted, and preserve the existing eave and rake details. And here you can see the new proposed roof, which is steeper. It's an 8 and 12 pitch roof, and that's more consistent with the roof pitches found on the main house, in accordance with the village guidelines. So I think that touches on basically all the main elements of the project. And questions? Yeah. I'm sure you have a few.
Thanks, Ken. Okay.
Do we have, the last couple of basement slab variances, had a memo from Jean Henry. Should we be getting a memo from her on her position? And my sense was that the original concern about basement slab elevations with high groundwater was partly a Mike Gray issue as well. Should Mike be speaking to these conditions?
Jean is a go-to person for this discussion. Unless there is a known issue with stormwater runoff from the property into the street, then we get Mike involved. There's no evidence of that here. In terms of getting an actual memo from Jean, we've been, because of the process with the TRC, we've just kind of been wrapping all that up in the TRC. I don't have anything from her for this application, but in the future, if you prefer that, we can provide it.
It would seem to me to be, for both Mike and Jean, to at least put something on the record. At least we could quote them. Mike is the one who determines there's no street runoff to the very back. So it would be good for us to have that information and for Jean to be comfortable with keeping the stormwater on the site.
Yep, sure. Kevin, to Duncan's point, and going back to the TRC minutes.
Yep.
Gene recommended a minimum of 50 feet over land flow path toward Green Lane from the sump dump discharge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a number to plug in there? Do you know what you wound up with?
Yeah.
Discharge to?
I actually went to the site and I located where it is, and then we're going straight out with it. Forgive me, Mike. It's on there. I think it's just one of those things where it's just printed out extremely light.
That's fine. Was it
So, sorry
50?
about
Was
that.
it 50 or greater?
What's that?
Was it 50 feet or greater?
It is over 60. I saw it on the plan.
68 feet.
68.
Yeah.
Okay. And then going back to the TRC minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Gene mentioned a stormwater engineer's review will be required before a final determination can be made on the basement addition. Do we have that?
We do not. Correct.
Do you feel that that's not necessary based on all the other evidence you presented?
I mean, if that's what I misinterpreted that, if I'm being completely honest, I interpreted that as that she was providing the approval of that. I didn't realize, if I'm being honest, that she wanted us to get us a second opinion on that as
Yeah.
well.
Do-
That's something that we could definitely take care of, though.
Nancy, do you recall that testimony, or just, that's on page 3 of 5 of the TRC minutes, the
Yes.
fourth paragraph down?
I'm not quite certain what the intention was. However, what I can suggest is I will follow up with Jean, and if perhaps the board would consider a condition that if Jean needs further confirmation, as she's previously stated, that be provided to her before a building permit is issued.
Yeah, that she's, reviews the final plan, notes the distance, overland distance from sump pump discharge street, okay. And is that okay with you, Kevin?
Yeah, totally. We can take care of that for sure.
I've got one question.
Yes.
The house is clearly going to be bigger,
Yeah.
taller, more massive.
Yes.
What's the difference of the new total square footage versus the current square footage?
Off the top of my head, if I'm being honest, I don't have those numbers, square footage wise,
Just
but I can
curious,
certainly
it
provide
looks
those.
like, it just looks like a bigger mass.
It is. I mean,
Because it's going to be, yeah.
there's no question around it. I mean, if I'm being forthright,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. I mean, in our opinion, because we chose to add that mass in the rear, we thought it would have minimal impact from the street, and that was basically our stance on it. But for sure, it is. There's no question about it.
Okay, one other quick,
Sure.
similar, the garage, is it 1 or 2 stories?
It's just a single story.
Just one, okay.
Mm-hmm. You mean on top of that? No. They don't even use it, honestly. So actually it's used as storage currently. So, I mean, if they were to go that route, we're so close to lot coverage, it wouldn't even be viable. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't even, I mean, because to try to get a variance on a lot this small, and that's the conversation that we had with them at the very beginning. It's like, once you do this, there's kind of no going back. I mean, unless you incur the expense, it's a lot of money to put into an existing garage and then go back on it. But I don't see the board ever approving a variance for a lot this small for additional structure. So. 3 total. 3 new bedrooms. Correct. And bathrooms? Sorry, I'm going through. Bathrooms is actually only 1 additional full bath.
To that point about the bathrooms,
Mm-hmm.
I know that in previous discussions, Green Lane has come up as having water pressure issues. I know that was a big thing that was discussed when the lot on the end that used to be the Bank of America lot was put in, building was put in. There was question about how it would affect the water pressure on that street. I don't know if that's anything that gets looked into. Again, Mr. Gray or Jean.
In the course of the review for the building permits and the construction, all of that stuff would be taken into consideration. They're not, one bathroom probably isn't going to be as impactful as, say, an entire another building, another unit. So I think
Certainly.
it's, I think it's something that is kind of built into the discussion once the services are provided.
And that would be part of the permitting process?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing, because a lot of our guidelines are based on the number of bedrooms, not the number of bathrooms, because bedrooms equal people. And they could all use one bathroom, but, you know, it's 20 people using one bathroom.
Okay, with that in mind, Kevin, can you specify how many bedrooms are there now and how many will be after the construction?
Yeah, there's 3 existing, and we're proposing 3 additional, 2 on the 3rd floor and 1 on the 2nd floor. I mean, I understand your concerns, and I mean, you're right. I mean, I'm not, there's no defending that, but the way that they're proposing the usage, and I don't know if it's a very strong argument, if I'm being honest, is it's just sporadic, but, that's really not a strong foot to stand on, if I'm being honest. I mean.
Yeah, and I know that those of us that are on wells, we have a lot of restrictions, and it's by
Right.
bedroom,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, water usage is calculated based on occupancy, so.
To that point, right, there's no restriction in zoning as to how many bedrooms can be added at this time. Right.
That's true.
Right.
And the focus of this discussion, albeit that's an important subject, is really on the DPR is on the architectural and for the basement. Those things are generally handled through the permitting process, as I stated.
Right. And Carl, to your point, I think, right, if the applicant's at their own risk, if they add bedrooms and additional bathrooms and pressure is not adequate, then back to the drawing board and try to find a solution to that, right? But that you're at your own risk, and that's out of our purview.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't the building official, when they come for a permit with a doubling of the number of bedrooms, it may have to go to water and sewer?
Most definitely will.
Yeah. All set?
Was there anything else, Carl?
I do have a question about the basement.
Sure.
If I may?
Yeah.
So with the area that's dirt now, are you planning on putting a slab in and sealing that in?
Currently, no. We talked about that with Jean, and the way that we left it is it's an impervious surface,
Mm-hmm.
and technically, if water does enter there, it has the ability to seep through the soil naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the whole goal, as far as I understand, the zoning or the ordinance. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the number. Is that we're trying to minimize the water that's getting discharged on the site, because that has the potential to get onto the streets and into the city sewer system. And so any water that can potentially stay there, why put a slab in there to potentially increase the load that gets discharged? That was our opinion. So no, there's no slab going in there.
So then, next question. I know in the literature you provided, you said that the basement is only going to be used for storage space.
Correct.
In the current plans, there's no separation between that space and the living space. There's no doorway. There's nothing. So I did have a question about
Sure.
Use.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it was one of those things we're looking at. It's like, okay, if you're putting in a door, that's pretty clear. But now you've got this airflow through the house, which becomes another question about the basement.
Yeah, the problem with the door is the headroom issue. We can only solve that with going deeper. Basically, we could do that door. However, we would need, that landing would actually have to go deeper, and we were just trying to
What about
keep it
at
at
the top
the
of the
same level.
stairs?
The other option, and I was just thinking about it, but you already got me, would be to add it to the top of the stairs. However, to be honest with you, I would need to consult with the owners, because if, I'm just trying to get back to the basement floor plan real quick and the first floor. One of the reasons why we decided to put the stair there is because it would allow, we could put some windows on that wall on the addition and allow natural light to filter into that entry mudroom area in the back. So they propose to keep it open.
Right, and that's an open stairwell,
Correct.
right? That's a knee wall
Yep,
going down.
that's correct.
So any moisture that's in that basement, that's in the air, is gonna come up as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're correct. I mean, maybe one thing we could do is add a stair at the base somehow. I would need to talk to the building official to see what they would allow. I know the clients themselves would prefer to do that, but now we're talking about a door that doesn't meet code, because we only got 70 inches from the slab to bottom of joist. So, I mean, when you're down there, it's tight.
Yes.
I mean, there's no question, are they going to use it for livable space? No, absolutely not. It's not. It's actually kind of dangerous to walk down. So, I mean, even though it's a basement, it feels more like a crawl space to me when you're down there, honestly. So, cool.
Guidelines. I think, the house has got that kind of quality of one of the Green Lane cottages, and it is what it is, and it's got a certain personality, as you said, with lots of perhaps inconclusive renovation over the years.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of comments I had. It would seem to me to be more fitting with the guidelines if your front porch was not a wall, fortress-like kind of wall, but more, porch floor, open railings.
Open railing.
So that it's more open to the street, because that's a pedestrian street, people walking up and down. I think they get a better feel. I know there's a lot of landscaping in the front, and but still, I think that wherever you can use open railings, you tend to give it more the massing of what's shown in the guidelines.
Gotcha.
I think that 2 dormers on the front elevation, I say front, the Green Lane elevation, my sense is that they should be smaller to balance better. I think they're a little top-heavy for, if you look at the guidelines, generally, and I know it's kind of historic, but the dormers are a little thinner, and if they were, they could match up with the windows in the facade below. So you use 2 windows in the dormer perhaps instead of, and that way they would line up with that couple of doubles that you have on the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
The some of this is perhaps just leftover renovation that can't be tickled in some way. It would be, in a few places, you have windows that are kind of, they look like they got thrown at the wall a little bit because they're not lined up with anything. To me, the elevation needs a little more definition, and
Are you referring to maybe like the
I'm
south and
looking
north
at-
elevations, the longer
yeah, I'm
ones?
looking at this last sheet here. Yeah, the north elevation.
Correct.
The windows, I realize why you want to put these windows at the staircase, and, so be it. The other windows, it would be nice if they could get some alignment. I don't think the windows on the sides of the dormers is something that we would see in the guidelines. And so you might think about that a little bit. These windows, there's not a lot of vertical alignment, and these appendages that are on the sides, aren't they, don't they have a gable roof now, and you're putting a shed on it?
I mean, sorry, you're referring to,
I'm looking on the north elevation, for example.
yeah, in
Does that have a
the existing condition, the main gable goes all the way down to the second floor, basically. And then there's a knee wall in those existing bedrooms on the rear of the property.
So
And then
the shed roof is up there to allow you to put the windows on the
Correct.
upper floor. Okay. Now, in a couple of places, like on this north elevation, you have a couple of elements that have corner molding, but you don't have corner molding everywhere. Is there a reason you don't have that?
Honestly,
If you can do the corner molding, I think it would give a little more definition to the elevation.
I think that was just overlooked by me, to be honest with you. I would prefer that, to add that as well. Because looking at looking at the east, that photograph, the existing, the shingles are, it's weird. On the first floor, they do have the corner boards, the corner trim, and then from the second floor up, the shingles are laced.
They're
And
woven.
I think I just kept going with that. I didn't want to alter that detail, if I'm being honest.
Are you leaving the shingles on, or are you re-shingling them?
We're gonna reshingle them because and this is something I talked about the owners with. The problem is when you leave them up in certain spots and replace them in others, it takes so long for the new ones to catch up weather-wise, and they're
Sure.
gonna need to be replaced anyways eventually. I mean, these things have a shelf life. I mean, you might get 40 years out of them if you're really lucky. So even though it's going to be an expense to the owner, I told them we just need to reshingle everything, main house and garage. So that's what we're
I
going
think
to
you
do.
could probably add a little more definition to it all too, by possibly putting some shadow boards on the eaves and the gables.
Yeah.
Just to, it looks, what is your overhang?
Currently, are you talking about at the eaves?
Yeah,
It's about 16 inches.
okay.
So
Are you re-roofing?
we are gonna re-roof, yes. And we are gonna the rendering is schematic.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just a schematic, really, depiction of what we're proposing. It's not, the exact details really aren't on there, if I'm being honest, but we are gonna keep the even rake details exactly the same and replicate them on new sections of roof, because they are interesting, in my opinion, and they're worth preserving, and not only preserving, but, replicating in new areas.
I think if you did a little work to, if you can, with the plans that you're possibly locked into, if you can line up some windows in a few places to get a little more balance to the elevations, and I think that would help in terms of how the building presents itself, and helps with when you look at the village guidelines.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
I think the garage is great to improve the garage, and is that gonna have well, it will, because it's being used as a studio, it'll have a floor in it.
We haven't crossed that yet. I'm proposing we add sleepers to the existing slab and then do a wood floor.
Oh, there's a slab in there?
Yeah, either that or maybe refinishing the slab, that's a possibility too. There's a few different ways we could go, but I,
So the
what's that?
plate height would work if you did add a floor on top of the slab?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, those,
Yeah, the existing plate height off the top of my head is 8 foot, so we have a little bit of room to play there.
okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All set? Anybody in the audience want to address the commission? Yes, sir. Yeah, please come to the podium.
Take the podium. Sure.
Thank you for the plans, by the way. They were hard to see on the screen.
Please raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
Yes.
the truth, so help you God? And just state your name and spell your last name.
James Walsh, W-A-L-S-H, 69 Clinton Avenue. So I received a letter, because I'm in a butter, and I am kitty corner to the back of this house. So I have a couple of questions. I think it looks nice. I agree with some of the comments that have been made in regards to corner boards and things like that. I think it would help add to this. Kevin, are we expanding the footprint of the building, or are we going just the shed on the back of the house? Because I look at the back of the house.
Right.
You're just coming straight up from that. You're not adding on to the back of it.
When you say shed,
Not the garage, the shed roof that's on the back of the house.
the shed roof is coming off from where it's.
And you're going 2 and 3.
Exactly.
Okay.
Not outward in that direction,
Not
approaching-
further west.
Yeah, not further west.
Okay.
of the property, but up for sure.
Okay. Is there any, we did an addition to our house and we were required to do a water retention area for all of our downspouts. Is that going to be a requirement for this property? Because I know everybody's concerned about water from their own property going to other properties or
Yep.
onto the street.
So at the technical review committee, we did talk in a lot more detail. Kevin didn't get to it tonight, but I think he can explain that to you. So one concern was the location of the current garage, which is pre-existing, close to the property line. And Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's proposed changing the flow of those downspouts to the south.
Yes, I saw that on the plan. But
Okay.
are we going to retain the, are you going to, is there going to be an underground system to a retention pond?
And that's something that, if I'm being honest, I need to consult with an engineer, but
Okay.
I think if that was a condition for approval, I believe our client would definitely be in agreement with that.
Okay.
Because there's no question about it. We're increasing the surface of it. Just look at the plan.
Yeah.
And but they're also very sensitive to the neighbors. I mean, these are small lots, these houses
Yes.
are close.
They're,
And we've already, had, in the plans, we mentioned certain measures that they're gonna take to prevent water from being shed on the other people's properties. And if we need to take that to the next level with retention ponds, I mean, there's a lot of, I've seen a lot of nice retention ponds done, it could become a landscape feature.
yes.
And if that's something that we would need to do, then I can't speak for them, but I would strongly suggest, and I believe they would be supportive of that.
I mean, ours is small because we didn't add a lot. We only added 600 square feet to our house. But for instance, if the planning board is familiar with the house on Clinton Avenue, I don't know what the number is. It was the red house that was torn down, and then we had the 3-story, I will call it a McMansion, which is completely out of scale with the rest of the neighbors. They have now put a retention pond in their front yard. And they've actually made it a landscape feature. So, I mean, it's, I guess it is what it is.
Just to clarify one thing, the plans submitted here do show a 4-foot wide vegetated swale on the south side of the property to contain water runoff. It doesn't show a linear length for that 4-foot swale on the print, but
Okay.
based on the dimensions here, it's pretty good size. Yep.
Just, even though it's shallow, the slope of
Yeah.
the site, it is, based on our survey going from your property to Green Lane.
Yeah.
It already is sloped that way, but, I mean, just, as we were talking about, if
know if it's in this package that was, oh, okay.
It's gonna be right along there.
Okay, because I'm back, no, that's okay, I think it's, I think it's interesting. My concern is the overall massing of the house. I agree, and I also agree with Mr. Pendlebury about the front dormers, why we have 3 windows across with 2 larger dormers on the front, and we're not lining up with the 2 that are down below. I think that would kind of help it. I should have prefaced my comments by saying, I've been an architectural designer for over 40 years myself, so I can kind of look at this and understand what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
So, the massing, the water retention, the addition. So, I don't know if you know, Kevin. Do we know when this work is going to start?
They would like to begin construction in September
Okay.
and hopefully have it done next summer.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know currently it's a rental. I think it's a 9-month rental, and then they do weekly during the summertime. Or I think the owners may. I haven't met the owners myself, but I think they may come for a period of time. And
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I can't attest to that.
okay.
I do know that this is going to be their permanent
Yes.
after construction. So.
Okay.
And they mentioned that they wanted to make sure the board was aware of this.
Okay. No, that's great. I moved here to retire, and that's what I've done. So I'm happy for them. So good luck. Those are all the comments I have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, so let's move ahead here towards final decision. But first, we need to review some of the possible changes to findings of fact, conditions. So let's work backwards. So the comments just made regarding capture of stormwater through rain garden, additional swale. So Kevin, just clarify that for me. You said the slope of the land runs from the rear of the house towards Green Lane,
East to
right?
west, yep, per the survey.
And so is there water?
It's shallow, I mean, to be fair. It's not a very steep slope.
It's not,
Yeah.
right? Are you aware of any water that runs to the west from the property towards the neighbors to the rear?
I don't know the property that well, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. I mean, I have done probably 4 site visits, but I mean, that's one of those things where you would have to really know the site, you know, and
If,
certain rain events.
But we know Clinton is a river in any kind of a storm, and I don't know if that applies to Green as well, but Clinton is, I think every basement on Clinton is,
right.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I wouldn't know unless,
Yeah.
you know.
And so that water that comes off the garage, you're going to move that to the south somehow, right?
Correct.
Where different from where it goes now. So is there a need for some kind of swale or rain garden or something at the rear of the property? I think you seemed open to that.
I mean, definitely it's something I need to talk with my client, but knowing them, I think they would, because part of the scope too is they're going to hire a landscape architect to do a complete, landscape plan, and that would be the time to work with the civil engineer and really incorporate the two. I mean, I think it could be done, very well, while, mitigating the stormwater, but also accomplishing their goal of having a really nice landscaped yard. I mean, I think everybody wins in that
Yeah.
case,
Yes, Nancy? Yeah.
So one of the conditions of approval that is written, the first one, is about that landscape plan and having it submitted and approved administratively prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. In addition to that, we could add that we have a stormwater plan submitted and approved by the town engineer prior to building permits being issued.
So they should present a stormwater mitigation plan.
Yes.
Kevin, do you see where that would be inserted? Are you see under condition approval number
Yeah.
1? Right, so we would, that condition would be expanded to include a requirement, not only of a landscape plan, but of a stormwater mitigation plan.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, I'd have to consult with my client, but I think that's definitely fair. I mean, especially given the
Yeah.
size of the lots, and I mean, I kind of feel like it should be included anyways, from a professional
Yeah.
standpoint.
right. So going back to our prior conversation, that even though you have not yet had discussions with the stormwater engineer, looks like we're headed in that direction.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to cover that because we're going to get to an approval for in a minute, and I'm sensing that we're going to ask you to do that.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair.
So we had talked earlier about adding a condition that a final plan would be reviewed by Gene Lambert anyway, so that can go away, and we'll use your suggested amendment to the condition number 1. Yeah, okay. All right. Duncan, so you had a list of recommendations relative to design. How do you want to wrap those into our conditions?
Well, there's several there, so I guess what we need to do is put a condition, a general condition that the project needs a village guidelines review, and to do a couple of important things, like opening up the front porch and shrinking those dormers on the front elevation, and then some other minor things that are like corner boards and more window trim and
Window alignment, I think.
window alignment, yeah. So those, I think we can do if everything else falls into place, unless we think we need to come back on this. We can do that by administrative.
Right, so I think Nancy's got condition number 2 proposed here if needed, but it looks like we will need that. So Kevin, we're at condition number 2, page 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, to ensure consistency with the guidelines, so we would have you submit for approval by the administrative officer, Nancy Latender, prior to the building permit, revised elevations, addressing those 5 elements: porch design, dormers, that's on the third floor,
Right.
3rd floor, corner boards, addition of corner boards, which I think you said you were agreeable to and maybe had intended.
It was just something that carried over from the existing house, not to lace the shingles. I mean, honestly, it's cheaper to do the corner boards. It's just not. It's more common to see them laced, but it's one of the first things. I mean, if you look at newer construction, that's usually one of the first things you notice is the addition of those corner boards, because it is an easier detail. I mean, lacing those things has to be done by a pro. You can't just nail the shingles to the wall. It's not a cheap, but it's a quick and easy way to do that, which is why I kept them on the first floor, because that's how it was existing. So that was my reason for it. And then the second and third floors, same reasoning, just keeping the details consistent with the existing. So, but, that's something that we could definitely talk about for sure.
Okay. The window alignment and window trim.
What exactly do you mean by window trim? Like, are you looking for just more detail with the overall casing, or? I'm just curious if you could expand on that, please.
Well, these cottages, generally, I mean, you don't show it on these elevations, obviously at this stage.
Right, yes, I understand. The schematic element of the drawings for sure.
Yeah. I think if you look in the village guidelines, you'll see that the head trim is very generally a little bit larger than the
Yep.
side trims,
Mhm.
and sometimes it has a little bit of detail on
Yep.
it. And, the same with the apron,
Yep.
and the sill might be a little bit wider. Right now, you're just showing something to delineate where the window is. So
Correct.
I think if all those things add to the characteristic of a house in that neighborhood.
Right. And I think, the way that the plans read and the way that because, we are going to be doing the construction, and that's one of those things like with design build where we're able to save time because I can go to the guys who are doing it. And it will be, those details, they're actually on the plans. It's just notations. And I tell my guys, that's the detail of the existing windows.
Yeah.
The new windows are going to match that. Make it happen. That's my position.
I'm sure you'll have those details on your
Oh, yeah. If that's
construction
something.
documents.
Right, yeah. It's notated in the, in the construction documents.
And your guys will thank you for putting corner boards on it.
Yeah, they will. I don't know. Different discussion. I like them when they're laced.
So,
There was also something about the triangular shaped windows on the side dormers.
Oh, yeah, not to have windows on the side of the dormers, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be something that I'll have to talk about the client with, because it's the reason why we did that. One of those dormers is a sitting room, and they were trying to create basically like an expansive view of, there is a view of the water of the bridge from that exact room. And the idea that I had was to add those windows. They would be custom made, kind of create like, my inspiration was something more along the lines of like being up in a lighthouse and seeing the windows kind of wrap around. That's where the idea came from. But I understand like.
Yeah, I think if you were gonna do that, you would do a totally different dormer there. You shouldn't try to, in my opinion, shouldn't try to match the other dormer and then not match it.
If that were the case, I think on the first floor, you have that bay window.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been able to carry that up as a detail rather than have a flat facade.
Too many designers.
It's an interesting thought for sure.
Would that, Duncan, would you think that was part of the design of the house? If that dormer shape changed to match the bay window existing on the first floor? Is that kind of in line with what you were thinking? You can see it in the floor plan.
So Nancy, just for Kevin's benefit, our benefit, on these village guidelines and the condition that there would be some administrative review, understanding their guidelines, how do you see that happening? Could Kevin come back in a week and say, okay, I've listened to your comments and I've talked to my client and here's what I'm thinking? Is it a 2-step process, a 3-step process? Is it a back and forth for a period of time, or?
I think what I've heard is that there are these specifications that are in the construction documents, and and then they're probably still evolving. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, that's fair.
Okay. And that those specifics will be decided by the property owner at some point in the process, I was suggesting, just as written here, that Kevin and I communicate on what all those design aspects are that he's come up with on those 5 or 6 items prior to a building permit being issued.
And just so Kevin's clear on what weight that condition carries, if there's disagreement by the applicant, based on Kevin's discussion with the property owner, where does that leave us?
Well, you've got to understand that the actual specifics of it, whether or not you're going to have corner boards or whatever, is really left up to the designer. The zoning code only goes so far as to say you need to make these considerations, and you need to be aware of the fact that this is of what the village looks like. I mean, you need to design for the context that you're in. Certainly, there's a few really bad examples out there, but the fact that what Kevin is doing is basing the new construction on what is already there is essentially what the guidelines are asking for. So there really isn't much I can do about if he comes back and he says, no, they really want those windows. There really isn't much I can do about that, just so you know.
Yeah, the board has the ability to make recommendations, but we don't have the authority to require any of those recommendations as discussed tonight. If the applicant comes back and says, I want to keep these dormers the size that they are, I've taken your recommendations under consideration. We have no authority to force them to do so. Am I correct?
I would have to agree with that statement.
Respectfully, that's how I understand it as
Yeah.
well.
I do want to give my short speech that I give every time this comes up. The guidelines were not written by any of us here. The guidelines were written by the town, the people in the town. That's what the people want.
Understood.
For the people to expect that is fair. So, pass that on.
Okay.
No, and I mean, just to add to that, like, I mean, I've probably gone through them, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 times, beginning to end. And I thought we did a pretty good job at adhering to them as much as we could. Maybe we could have done a little bit better of a job with the window alignments. And I think it would be fair for me to take another look at the floor plans and see what I could do with that. Maybe, especially, I mean, I think on the front facade, that's the one I focus my attention the most on. And maybe I neglected the other facades, if I'm being fair. And maybe it's worth taking a look at the floor plans and just seeing if maybe I could do a couple things to bring that alignment with the windows and such to those other elevations. That's fair.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we want to, the client really wants this to look good. They want the town to appreciate this. I mean, they're putting a lot of money into it, probably more than what the house would be worth. I mean, for them, it's just the value of their home. They're not looking to flip this thing. This is going to be their new family home. So, they actually do care. Andrew grew up on Plum Island, so he's relocating back towards home, and he's an artist actually he's actually a pretty good artist, and the whole area always has served as an inspiration for him, which is why they come back every summer, and they really appreciate the architecture in the town itself. I don't think he's trying to impose his will without being sensitive to the design guidelines. They love this town. And I think the guidelines in this whole process is probably the reason why Jamestown still looks the way it looks, which is a good thing. I mean, there's not a lot of towns like it. I mean, I grew up in the South, and almost all the you could have a historic building right next to a high-rise. It's kind of a shame. So.
Okay. Don't go away, Kevin. Nancy, under condition number 2, you left us some some notes at the bottom relative to board and batten exterior with a solid stain spec.
Yeah, that was from another.
Yeah, that's,
another
okay,
case.
just wanted, I
So,
thought.
so
it was-
those there, that's where I would put
Yep.
in those 5 things
Right.
that you were talking about.
Yeah, I thought you were just giving us an example of what types of things that might go in.
Yeah, I
Okay,
did.
just want to make sure of that. Okay, so Kevin, we've, conditions of approval, we've made 2 changes. And we talked about that. Number 1, right, we're adding the requirement for a stormwater management plan to be submitted prior to issuance of a building permit. And then in condition number 2, we're asking you to go back and consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 elements, 6 design elements, reconsideration to come in and be more agreement with the design guidelines.
Yeah, I
And
think
the-
that's fair, and that's definitely something that, I'll talk about with my client.
Yeah.
I personally, the idea of maybe adding railing to that front porch could be kind of nice. But we'll cross that bridge with my
Yeah.
client. So
And then you can bring those back to the administrative officer. If you want, it doesn't have to be a one and done, right? It can be a conversation.
okay,
So I'm sure that Nancy will share those with staff and
Yes.
give you feedback if needed. Okay, so Kevin, have you read all the conditions and findings of fact? Is there any items that you disagree with or you think should
No,
be changed?
I mean, I read through them. A lot of things like the landscape plan that was going to be done anyways.
Mhm.
Just something we haven't really gotten to at this point in the design process.
Okay.
And now that with the condition of the stormwater management, those 2 our consultants will need to work, simultaneously to create the plan really. So
Okay.
I have no issue with that.
Okay, are you okay with waiving the reading of all of the findings and conditions and?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so then we're gonna move ahead and with our decision. I'd like to make a motion, we've got 2 votes here, one for the variance and then one for the development plan. And so we did variance first, right? So I'd like to make a motion that the application of Andrew and Kathleen Huntley Robertson's properties located in the R8 zoning district and the Jamestown Village Special District at 74 Green Lane, further identified as Plat 9, Lot 229. We approve the variance to allow changes to the basement and our crawl space, which does not meet the required 12-inch separation from high groundwater elevation, reference ordinance section 82-708. First, so we'll need a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion on the motion. Okay, none. Carrie, roll call vote, please, on the variance approval.
Duncan Pendlebury. Carl Crissati.
Aye.
Diane Harrison. Nick Insana.
Aye.
Dana Prestigiacomo.
Aye.
And Michael Swistak.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. So I'd like to make a second motion in the application of Andrew and Kathleen Huntley Robinson, 74 Green Lane. That we approved the development plan, subject to Article 11, Section 82-1102, subject to the findings of fact and conditions as written and amended.
Second.
And discussion on the motion. Roll call vote, please, Carrie.
Duncan Pendlebury. Carl Crissati.
Aye.
Diane Harrison. Nick Insana.
Aye.
Dana Prestigiacomo. And Michael Swistak.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Yep, thanks, Kevin, thanks for your time.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chrissy. Anybody want to take 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Yeah? Yeah. No. All right, where are we at now? We're going to do 43 Standish. Get my wife over here.
minutes. Still gotta get to those.
Thank you, Kevin. Nice to meet
Rules
you,
of
James.
procedure, we gotta get to that.
All right, let's see, 8:30,
Clear about Duncan.
3-minute break.
This thing needs to be like 6 feet deeper. All right. Pattern book, subdivision. We keep pattern book out. I don't think we need subdivision. It's merely the appearance of organization.
So he's small, but he's
There's some good questions. Doing homework over there. The no door in the basement is big. I did not catch that.
Oh, you know what?
That's a serious air quality issue.
Carrie and I want to know what days you have tickets for.
Want to go tomorrow afternoon?
No, I can't go tomorrow. No, we need to know where, we need to plan it. Yeah. So, yeah, if
I
you
like
could.
the idea of door in the basement.
Thought I sent it, but I didn't have it just open.
I don't know what
No. So let's see, you open it and I will
So,
take a picture.
yeah, we're already,
for a
well, I
non-formal
can
door.
text it.
The only other concern I would have is that's the only access for mechanics. It's a big boiler down there. If you look at the pictures, that thing's a monster. It's probably a 5-section oil boiler. Right, so when that's got to go, that's got to get broke up and carried through sections. The new boiler has got to be assembled in place. There's no way you're getting a 5-section oil down those stairs. I've done it, and I've nearly died. I hire people to do that.
237.
I had some.
No, but you could do a gas conversion. That was a long time. You could do a couple. Yeah, you could do LP. And that's what most people do.
Yeah, no, it's.
I would be surprised if they don't make a change to that either during this construction.
No,
Because inevitably, when you're spending
you did a
buku dinero on a massive renovation like this, you start thinking about things like, oh, well, what about the grill? You really want to go get 20-pound grill?
Yeah, that's just it, yeah.
Nobody.
It's only the
So,
architecture.
well, let's do. Yep, got to do a generator. Oh, well, I wanted to have a gas stove. Yeah, I mean, a house that size,
Alright,
probably,
so,
you could probably run a very
this one, and get
two 250s and
and
they're going to be Newport Coke will be out there every other week filming this thing.
He's sending,
Especially in the
he's
winter.
sending us
Even a
his
high
list
efficiency
of
boiler is going to rip through some heat.
Red Sox suits.
So
Okay.
I'd be surprised if they long term.
3 tickets.
They're probably, a lot of times people will do is they'll wait till the existing system is down.
I sold 2.
Then they, but the
I have
time
a
to do
date with Vanessa
stove
Carlton tomorrow night at work.
connections for outdoor, so it's during the major renovation.
I can't
So,
go.
like, as a plumber, when I see projects like that, that's the first question I ask my contractor, like, what are we doing? We're keeping this
Oh,
oil
no,
system?
it's a
Like,
zoning
no?
appeal
the-
hearing.
You sure they don't want coal? Because we can do that too, right?
Yeah, because I knew
I
there
like
were
oil,
issues.
but it is such antiquated technology.
Vanessa
you know?
Carlton's house and the
More
neighbor.
BTUs and
So she's
giving them out
Vanessa
more than the same amount.
She's the, I would walk
But
1,000
dirty.
mile.
They've already gotten away from it. I don't know if you saw in the pictures, that house had a heat pump water. So electric heat pump, water heater.
I thought, at first I glanced at it, I was like, oh, it's a dehumidifier. It's like, no, that's.
Yeah, that's the water heater. Yeah, that's the dead giveaway. Is if there's a condensate tank on a water heater, dead giveaway. It's a heat pump. So they used to have a oil-fired indirect water heater. You could see it in the background of the picture, disconnected. Because that's what caught my eye. I'm like, why are there two tanks down there? What are they doing? Typical. They just don't want to carry it out of the basement. They just leave it down there because that basement access is trash. And it's not getting any better.
There's no exterior access.
Right. There's no bulkhead.
They do put it on the tank. And then when it fails, you're
There's an
gonna
existing
carry
oil
out-
tank down
You're
there.
gonna cut the oil tank.
We
in
cut
half,
them up in the basement.
And you're gonna have to carry out,
Yep, through the
20
house.
gallons.
Of sludge. Yeah, it's awful. I literally do it for a living.
No,
It's awful. I actually pay guys to do it, but I help them. They're my friends, and they do it under my license. So, like, it's terrible. We pump them out as low as we can, filtered the oil. The guys I let they take it home, put it in their own tanks, and then we cut the tank. No, you can't resell it. It's very difficult to recycle.
But you can give it away.
You can give it away or keep it and burn it yourself. I already made the conversion, so I don't use it. You cut the tank, cut it in half, usually this way. So you have 2 ends and up and out, but through a multi-million-dollar house.
Yeah.
And when a bad pass on that job. Thank you. Yeah, so that's gonna be a problem for them. There's nothing they can do about it though. Like, there's nowhere to put a boat or a doghouse, and that'd be another point for us to talk about. You know, I think Duncan's right on the money, 100%, 100% on all those things. I just always feel like I need to remind these people that it is their house. You know what I mean? It is. I feel like Duncan, that guy listening to Duncan, it's like getting a free education.
Yeah.
Right from a master. You know what I mean?
So, and I know, he's got the technical background, Kevin.
Right.
But he doesn't have the
Time and grade.
well, and he doesn't have the experience with history of architecture.
Sure. Yeah.
Which, you know, Duncan, that's part of it.
Forgotten more than these guys know. You know what I mean? And he probably could do it in his sleep.
You see a lot of those little hips. You know, they're called Jerkin style hips.
Okay.
On these houses, and it's a bungalow, it's a folk, like,
All right.
it's a folk revival from the 19 teens and 20s.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we're all back. Okay, on to new business on item 3, PL 26-8, application of David T. Locke, 43 Standish Road, Assessors Plat 8, Lot 297, here for development plan review within the Jamestown Village Special Development District for complete renovation and addition of existing single-family dwelling, demolition and rebuild of attached garage at a later date. Yes, so who wants to start? Yeah, thanks for your patience.
It's understandable. Wow. I'm Greg Snyder. I'm the architect. I have been a registered architect since 1979. I went to Rhode Island School of Design. I was president of Rhode Island chapter of American Institute of Architects in 1992. I worked for 3 or 4 local firms before starting my own firm in 1992. And I specialize in single-family residences.
Okay. So before you go on further, David, so I make a motion, we accept David Locke as expert. Greg Snyder, I'm sorry, David Locke, sorry. Tripped up there.
I second that motion.
David Snyder as expert witness. Yeah. So there's a motion, I need a second. Second, discussion, motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Greg. Thank you. Proceed.
Okay, well, I'm just going to try to be as brief as possible and go through the guidelines. We did it sheet by sheet, so I'm just going to be very brief as a summary, and if any point you'd like to go back to one, I think if I just go through the whole thing, then we can go back if it's not clear or you guys disagree or have a question about something. We inherited a house that we are renovating. We are keeping the same footprint in the front of the house, save that we're adding a porte cochere. The house is zoned as the outbuilding third that's recommended in the guidelines. We have a garage that's in the back third, which creates a courtyard to the back of the house. It's on the side of the house, and it gives and there is a front yard which creates privacy, and it creates a street friendly situation. There's an existing porch. We are redoing the existing porch. The existing porch right now is enclosed. We're taking it out and we're doing the railings that are recommended by the town with the colonnade and with a sleeping porch above it, which will be glassed in, but will be cathedral and will act as kind of a lantern on the town at night. Second slide, please. The principal, on number 2. Okay, the principal building is at the front of the street, and it is layered per recommendation that there is a walkway, there is a porch, then you enter the house. This creates a public zone at the front of the house, semi-private zones on the sides, and then a private zone behind the house. We do have a patio that we're going to build and a future 2-car garage. Right now, the paving will be put in place. It will be paved all the way to that garage, and We anticipate getting those plans done pretty quickly for the garage, although it is within the next 3 years we're going to build it. The ancillary structure, it's zoned the way it's recommended by the town. Third, parking is going to be, of course, in the garage, but there's also a small turnaround. Temporary parking will be in front of the garage doors. We are showing a car in the porte cochere, but that's just to illustrate the convenience. It's not just a gift to the street having this kind of dramatic structure. It's also something that is pragmatic in that it'll allow them to empty their groceries or whatever you need, deliver children, pick somebody up if it's raining. But it is not looked at as being a parking space because it'll, in fact, block the driveway. Third. Landscaping, we will hire a registered landscape architect for the phase, but we right now are going to do a hard surface to the garage. We're going to do a bluestone patio. There will be a bluestone walkway, which is not shown yet because we don't know, but it's obviously going to come from where the entrance is. There are a couple of steps we intend to do in bluestone with stone riser faces. There's only a little tiny bit of stone on the house. It's that, the fireplace in the back, and the base of the stair tower. But we think that we're trying to limit the materials as well, which is, I'm getting ahead of myself. But the landscape as is has buffering at the back onto Coronado Street. We intend to keep that wall of buffering for the whole neighborhood, as well as creating privacy for our client. The sides have little bits of bushes here and there clumped. We're going to leave that in place. What we would do is augment it with a little bit of decorative planting, but the house doesn't need too much. Simplicity of massing. The existing house that's there is a bungalow. Bungalow is one of the 3 styles that are mentioned in the guideline book. That's what we picked up on. We made it fairly dramatic in the front of the house, but again, it's one basic shape. There's a basic shape on the sides, and there's a basic shape in the back. Next. Simplicity of roof form is exactly that. Actually, the intersection of those pitches looks more complex than it is, but we just saw it and you can see on the model that it's a pretty simple. It's intersecting on 3 sides. It's a gambrel, and then it's a small dormer in the back of the house. The common building types it is a common shingle style type, and they do have the gable, the gambrel, and the dormer cape, as well as a bungalow style as recommended to be in the historic district, and that's what we did. Elevation composition, it is not strictly, we do have centered on the peak different elements, but it is an asymmetrical balance, vertical mostly. There is a rhythm too, because the porch has its own distinct geometry that we are, trying to adhere to. But it's an interest. It's like we're almost centered with the entrance, but it's a asymmetrical balance, and we offset. Every element is important because we have the porte cochere. We need something vertical to offset it, and that's what the stair tower is. Openings, the openings are different than the fenestration because there's a porch all across the front of the house, which has a very noticeable entrance, which is another thing you guys mentioned that you should see from the street. You should be able to know where the front door is. Well, here there's no question. There are also, the openings are symmetrical about the front entrance on the second floor, kind of a rhythmic 1, 2, 3. They're really, the transformation would only be that we have an existing bungalow, and what we're actually doing on the side, we're keeping, those 2 windows are actually still in place that you see at the peak. We're just extending where that peak is upward and toward the back, because we're only really extending this 14 feet into the backyard. That's really the total addition. The ancillary structure will be basically what we have, which is a dormered cape. We have already talked about it having 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. It is set as you ask for garage doors. It's 2 separate garage doors. There'll be a pathway. It's completely detached from the house. And it's in the third zone, again, like has been asked for in the guidelines. Walls are, here we watch the material. It's basically a trimmed, proportionate trimmed, shingled house. We do have the line that's formed by the front porch is something that we are looking at. We're not completely sold on this yet, but it is the idea to do like a channel rustic base that's in cedar. So it's just a different texture, which is common in many cottages, especially bungalow cottages, especially in the shingle style. But we can commit to that if we need to. All the roof eaves have slight overhangs. The front of the house at the porch, we have an overhang, and that is also tying into the gutter configuration is mentioned later. Everything returns onto itself so that there's a logical termination against the wall for a downspout. I'm trying to think, roof eaves, what else did we have to address there? Before garage. Eaves. Yeah, the cornice is in scale to the overall massing of the house. Everything has been done 115 to 118 in proportion, so that no trim is too heavy. And where they break planes, there is, there's always a trim, there's always a shingle tuck. These are just pragmatic shingle style concerns. You have a rake board, but you also need a board for the shingles to tuck underneath, so you don't see face nailing. Gutters and downspouts. Everything is returning. There we have an example just of things we've done before. But we are returning onto those large roof overhangs. Will have the downspouts will return around the corner and then go down, rather than just terminating in an unsightly fashion. Garage doors are going to be all wood. These are the types of garage doors we commonly spec. There are just a couple of people that make them. Hans Woodworking is one of the people that make these doors. Everwrite is another one. We want the doors to be mahogany, and they may or may not be painted. All the window proportions are vertical. I just think that's just sensible. We have a lot of double hung windows. It is an instance where the different sizes and proportions of windows are part of the shingle style vernacular. It's one of the few architectures that, and one reason it's popular, where you can mix casements and awnings and double hung windows and still have a harmonious result, which is kind of what we're doing here. Where some of the spaces are a little more important, like the oval window at the top of the facade, that trim is a little wider than would normally be in place. There is nowhere where the trim is less than 3.5 inches. All of our muntins and shutters will be simulated divided light. We are going to do, there are only 5 or 6 good companies, Marvin, Colby, Anderson's Architect Series, that have simulated divided light with spacers and have aluminum extruded exterior, which we've used many times in historic districts, and it has a proportion of looking like a wood window, but does not require the maintenance over time. Porches, we have the porch at the front, of course, and it comes forward a little bit. You can see it better on the model here. And then up above, the sleeping porch, which we were toying with making that an outdoor porch too, but it just, as an economic concern, if we put in glass and we don't heat it, it's going to be a sleeping porch. So that's what the plan is now. But it is something, I think it's very important. I love that the guidelines have that you layer the house as you come in. There's a mailbox. Mailbox, your first key that you're on the property. Then there's a walkway. Then there's a porch. Then you're in a portico. Then you're in the house. That's what we have here, too, as a sequence of space. The porch details, we are, of course, holding it up, holding the bottom rail up from the top. We are right at 36 inches to the top of the rails, which is code minimum. And we will take care of with a small metal bar, the fact that it's more than 4 inches where those ovals are. We have done this before, but it gives it a nice historic effect, and it's part of a gift to the street. Not too busy, but it ties in the brackets that we have on the details, holding up these overhangs, and then a kind of a simplistic flat column. Again, that's a railing. That's a railing was executed by the same builder that we're using on this project, Rod Poland, and that's the design for this structure. The only dormers are really in the back. We have that engaged fireplace. It's so that we have a cathedral space inside the house, which lines up with the front door, the center of the fireplace lining up with the front door. The other gable is not really necessary. It's to break up a large roof form because it's how we were able to extend the existing bungalow shape and yet have it, work with the front facade. We needed a little more height, so we created that dormer. The chimney is fully engaged per the first diagram, which is the recommended in the book. And it is creating an indoor and outdoor fireplace that will be stone on both sides and will give a focal point for the patio in the backyard in the private space. We don't have any fences on our job yet. There may be something, but I don't think, there's no fences in the neighborhood. It is something of honoring the street and the streetscape the way it is. I don't think we need a fence. Materials, the foundations, everywhere the foundation at a shingled wall is exposed, it will be parged in concrete. We are going to get the shingles down as low as we can get them. It's funny because code says 8 inches. We cheat that all the time and have it more like 4 inches. The 8 inches is for vertical buildup of termites. But if you have a break, and problems we've had is that landscapers will come and add mulch right to the end, and then you do get termites. But we try to keep it more like 4 inches. It looks much more tidy, and we really haven't had a problem with that in the past. The walls themselves are going to be shingled. That the side elevations show that change over to just a cedar board that would be a tongue and groove, like a shiplap board. Used a lot, and it ties in our base trim. The roof is going to be an asphalt shingle, but we would probably do weathered wood or driftwood, something that looks like a wood texture. Trim is all going to be a wood product that's pressure treated. Yeah, what is it? It's painted. Yeah, it's painted, but wood trim that has been pressure treated, has a lifetime warranty. It's gold, something gold. Lifespan gold. Lifespan gold. Doors and windows, I had mentioned before, the front door is going to be a mahogany door. It'll be a custom door. The surround will be custom. The trims are going to be wood like that. The windows are those 5 or 6 companies that I mentioned before, that we've used before with good results. The porch will have a wood beaded board ceiling. The porch deck itself will be Ipe, which is a weather-resistant, sustainable mahogany. It's the only wood that doesn't float. It will be held by extreme clips, so you won't see nails in the. It'll be held by clips, by hidden fasteners. Everything, all the trims will be painted. The siding will be a natural finish. We are trying to do red cedar shingles. We have enough trim that we think it'll carry into the neighborhood. If not, it would be a Maybeck with a bleaching oil type stain to stay in with the vernacular of the area. The roof will be, the roofs are simple. They will have, all the flashing will be lead-coated copper. All of the gutters will be copper or lead-coated copper. The roof itself will be a CertainTeed Landmark series. I like the middle line. I don't like them when they get to the triple laminate. I think is too heavy. You don't want it to look like something it's not. probably phony. But the ridge caps will be lead-coated copper. There'll be lead-coated copper flashing at the chimney where it adjoins the dormer that it's part of. These are just pictures of things that we saw in the village that have similar color schemes. That's kind of it. I'm open to any questions you may have about the design or implementation. We did add an area for roof runoff on the side of the house where there's actually a natural grading side to side, very slight, but we're taking advantage of that natural pitch. That we're really not adding, we're only adding 400 square feet to this house and less in footprint than that. And there's no runoff problem now, but we have committed to a depressed area to collect that water by depressing it 18 inches. It's on the south side, yeah.
So, just thinking maybe put that in the condition, but
It's on the drawings now.
it's on the drawing.
Yep.
Okay. It's already on the drawing. That's not part of the landscape plan. It's on the drawing.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
the drawing,
okay.
it's on our drawing.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think the landscape person will have a problem with it.
So when you describe that, just on education, so we talk
Yeah.
about rain gardens and swales, what, is that
This is a rain garden.
rain garden? Okay, yeah.
No, we want to depress in.
Yeah.
And judging that there's no, I did run it, I only asked the guy, just theoretically about this property. But it's Tom Principe, who's with Commonwealth Engineering, now it's Principe Associates, and he said, yeah, that's plenty. I wanted to get an idea of how much area I needed, and we indicated that area at a maximum.
Just a question on the garage when that's built. What's the potential use of 2 bedrooms and 2 baths over the garage?
It's just so it's for guests when they would come, seasonal guests to the house. But there will be no cooking facility, none of that. It's for overflow for kids that are gonna come to visit, yeah. So we obviously need a stair to get to it as well, but we're committed to 25 by 29 by the square footage and no less than 25 feet tall. We have it marked up, but it's just not drawn yet. And we fully intend to do the same thing, to have the gable face the street, to have the dormers on the side, just like it's shown.
Yeah, I'm just a little questioning, do you need 2 baths?
Oh,
For 2 bedroom, one for each bedroom there?
we actually have a diagram. We've had this Jack and Jill discussion with clients before, where if you interlock the 2 showers and you just do showers, you actually take up the same amount of space, maybe even less. And that's the only reason. And really, because it hasn't been designed yet, maybe it could be 1 bath. Yeah, I don't want to put it on the record, but I have a son who's married and one who's not, and the 2 girlfriends, one got dumped, which I'm glad that they didn't make it, because they hated each other, and they were sharing a bathroom. And I was just saying, it was a horrible situation, because they would never come to visit, and that's why, because they didn't want to share the bathroom because they hated each other. So.
I think we can qualify that as overshare,
Yeah,
but yes.
Can we strike that from the record? Yeah. Yes. Basically, all windows are casements Yes. situation. Yes.
Nancy, I just want to go back to the garage for a minute. So the garage is included in this application for approval, but we're approving, right, a window of 3 years to construct, or demolish and construct.
Yeah.
Where does that 3-year, why?
The owner didn't want to do it right at this time,
Yeah.
although we may be moving that schedule up. What we don't want to do now, because we haven't drawn it up yet, is delay the start of the construction.
Okay, so what's, I mean,
It was their request.
their request that we put a 3-year condition on it? I mean, if we improve it.
It was their request that it be specified that they don't have to do the garage right away.
Oh, understood. Okay, so I'm just,
It just came up because it's usually, that's the
Yeah.
when you have to execute your building permit.
Yeah.
okay, so, all right, that's what I was getting to, right?
Yeah,
So you don't have to come back for a
Right.
new review,
It's going to look like that.
yeah.
I mean,
All right, so this is gonna
essentially, we're not-
eliminate,
we're- There's no way we're gonna do something that doesn't complement the house, but also doesn't upstage it. I think the way it's worded in your documents is really good, because you want a garage that's beautiful, but
Yeah.
you don't want it to be like marble houses, you know, the Japanese temple upstages the marble house, doesn't it? It's like you don't want that. You want it just to be compatible and nice.
yeah. So, David, I just wanna go back. So usually when we approve something and then it's not executed, you gotta come back in a year, right? So here, are we modifying that rule and we're in advance approving a 3-year window? Am I mixing rules in my brain?
I actually thought, everyone's a little different. I'd have to go back and look at yours. Is yours 1 or is it 3 years? I thought it was already 3.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to execute, they're going to pull a building permit
Within the year?
Shortly, within the year. They just want to be able to do that construction, maintain the existing garage, which, by the way, does not meet setback requirements, for storage. And then when they're further down the line, they're going to tear down that garage and rebuild in the position. And he just wanted to have that okayed.
Yeah, I'm not trying to disrupt the plan. I just didn't
No.
wanna be in.
No, they'll be in compliance if they pull the first building permit
Yeah,
within the year.
they will,
Okay.
yeah.
So
It was
the-
really just the footprint that we wanted a commitment to, the footprint and the height.
Yep.
So that we had design parameters, and it was okay to have 2 bathrooms. And we might not do, but it's nice to have the permission, so we don't have to come back and say, hey, we want another bathroom, you know?
Once again, they're not okaying the number of bathrooms.
Right.
So that wouldn't
just
matter.
better,
It's
yeah.
the exterior of the building that they're looking at.
On this condition of approval, number 4, there's a reference to signage. And so why are we,
There's no signage.
Yeah, that's one of the items that is part of the package for the village
For the-
regarding signage, and I just put it in there to recognize the fact that if there's going to be signage, they still have to comply.
okay, got it.
That's all.
Yeah, it's a non-issue. Okay. Okay.
No signage.
More questions, comments? Okay, off-topic question.
Sure.
Again, so I can't remember ever seeing you here before, so I would love to have your opinion on these village guidelines. Were they easy to use, difficult to use, up, down, like them, hate them?
I think it's way in excess of any place I've ever worked except Nantucket that has designing with Nantucket in mind. But I think they're great for preventing crappy architecture. You know, I think there's a lot of things in them that are, I think the idea of a cutoff shed, which I saw in the previous design here, and I thought, oh my God. And then it was part of the original, so that he was stuck with that element. But I mean, that's a kind of element, it's like when you talk about gutters, well, you should think about that, because how are you gonna end that gutter on that outside edge? So I think they're great. I think they're easy to follow, and they're kind of commonsensical. I think it's well done.
Yeah, so, I don't think you live here, but if you were sitting up here, would you make them mandatory? Would you say, you gotta follow these are in stone? Or do you like
That's really,
or do you like?
I think in a historic district, yeah, you have that right to do that.
Yes,
I think out of the historic district, good luck, it's America.
yes, that's
But I
exactly
think
it.
in a historic district, of course.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the input. Yeah.
I know that guy that objected here, who came up. I used to work with him, you know, and as an architect, he was in an office I worked in, and he's a dedicated, good guy, you know, and he didn't like how the thing looked, so.
All right. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, any comments from Anybody here? Anybody want to say anything? Weigh in? Say hello? No? Okay. Okay, are the owners here, by the way? Oh, great, thanks for coming. Okay, so we're going to move on to a decision and approving the development plan. Gregory, are you going to, have you read you're representing the owners, so have you read this memorandum? Is there, and conditions and finding of fact? Yep. Right. Yep. And then there was a condition on the driveway.
The driveway, we're gonna, 10 feet at least, right?
Okay, all right. So, okay.
It's based on the lot coverage, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, well, that's a number that we can work out later on.
Okay, all right. So you're fine with the document as written? We haven't come up with any changes? Are you okay if we waive the reading of the entire document and we move right to motion for approval? Okay. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we approve with conditions the development plan application of David T. Locke trustee for the renovation of the existing single-family dwelling, including 2 additions, and the replacement of the existing garage with a new garage at 43 Standish Road, Assessors Plat 8, Lot 297, in accordance with the application and supporting materials, including the plan set titled, quote, Locke Residence, 43 Standish Road, Jamestown, Rhode Island, 02835, 13 sheets, including L-01 site plan and elevation and floor plan drawings prepared by Gregory Snyder Architects, dated February 24, 2026, and presented on June 3rd, 2026, with the final version to be approved by the administrative officer per the following findings of fact and conditions of approval as written and unchanged.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Carrie, roll call vote, please.
Duncan Pendlebury. Carl Crissati.
Aye.
Diane Harrison. Nick Insana.
Aye.
Dana Prestigiacomo. Michael Spistak.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay, next, back to approval of minutes. We have two sets, April 1st, 2026, May 6th, 2026. Anybody have any comments or changes to make? Maybe we can approve them both in one vote? Can I do that? That's good. Good? Okay. Make a motion that we approve the minutes of April 1, 2026 and May 6, 2026 as written without change.
Second.
Discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. No communications in the packet. And then on to old business, which is, oh, no, we did them both together. I wrapped it in, yeah. I was going fast. Can I?
Yeah, we've had
It was, just making sure, everyone, like, it's the same people voting, no one needed to abstain because they weren't present.
I was not a member of the board for the first one, but I was in the audience for the whole meeting. I don't know if
That's
that
fine,
counts.
that's fine, good enough for me. Good.
Okay, old business is, we need to vote on the final version of the amended Planning Commission Rules of Procedures. Any comments on any last minute changes? And Nancy, can you remind us on where do we land with advertising this to the public, or?
Where we had landed on the current format is that we discussed it at a meeting, and then we put it on an agenda saying we were going to vote on it on this agenda. So that's why you're here, you're free to vote on it on this agenda. About the only change that was made since the last time you saw it was to that Article 4, Section 4, conduct, where David provided us with the phrase, "and be mindful of due process considerations when sitting as a quasi-judicial body." So that was the only change. Okay? So if there's no other questions or concerns, then you just need an administrative vote to approve it.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, discussion on the motion? There's none.
Just everyone at once.
Can we do a hand vote? Thank you.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed? None.
Okay,
Okay, so Nancy, before we adjourn,
yes?
can you give us a view as to what's happening the next few weeks?
There is not much at all happening in the next few weeks.
Okay.
We don't have any new applications that are prepped for the early meeting in July. So I think we can safely say that we get to enjoy the next 6 weeks and see you back here the first Wednesday in August.
Cool.
Wow. Wow.
Okay?
David.
Unless you want to meet, do you want to move forward with all the housing stuff and continue that discussion? It's entirely up to you.
That's a no.
No.
It is, unfortunately, it's dictated by DEM, like the state, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when there's not a septic or ISDS or on-site wastewater
Right,
involved.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
it is, because we're single
I know.
source aquifer.
And then,
Zoning's not perfect.
What we could consider, I know it doesn't really apply to these properties in particular, but we could, I would imagine through zoning, consider limitations on total square footage that could potentially curb some of these.
You run into trouble with that as well. Yeah.
I mean, that does exist in other communities, even here in the state, but Block Island has a limitation on total square footage for new construction. And I think that other communities may as well. It's something to explore, certainly, as that property by the bridge illustrates.
I don't know how you could limit in certain areas and not in others, though.
No, I'd want it to be island-wide.
It's just that the whole island has a water challenge.
Yes.
And it shouldn't matter whether they're on town water or septics and wells. there should be some kind of a consideration that you can't just go wild and crazy if you're on town water, but if, you know, because it's the same aquifer we're all drawing from.
Understand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, that's a half bathroom more than I have with 3 kids. It is.
Yeah. All right. We're drifting off agenda here. David's going to reprimand us in a second.
We're okay.
We can't talk about it anywhere else.
Well, no, we can put that on the agenda.
Well, they're,
In August, I heard.
Yeah?
if you want to talk about the water capacity and what the effects are on water capacity, I can try to arrange something for you, but it's not something I know a lot about. So we would involve, for sure, Mike Gray, and we'd probably involve somebody from the company that runs the water department. And I'm not sure, but I can look into it.
We can do it in August. It doesn't have to be immediate, but I think it's a big enough problem on the island and will continue to get worse.
Yeah.
If we don't
Okay.
at least explore.
How about
can
we talk
manage
about it in the context of further residential development on the island? Because getting back to that balancing that we were talking about, how's that? Okay? We'll look at that side next. Okay,
All right. And then
carry over mine.
last thing, Nancy, can you confirm, and David, that you will call for an election at our next meeting?
yes.
Whenever that occurs?
Yeah.
So we have time to think about it and consider.
Yes, so
Your slate of officers, yes.
the rules of procedure that were in place and that are still in place said election of officers in June. I had discussed it with Mike the other day, and he suggested that we postpone it till the next meeting. So whenever we meet next, we'll have that on the agenda. So right now it would be August, what's the first?
August 5th.
August 5th.
I've got a sticky that says election of officers.
Are we good?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right here. Everybody out of here quick. All right, turn off.
Evan, did you know that guy?
That was from Standish's course.
Really? After all the